Alright, what's going on, guys? Boy TG, welcome back to another video. So this video, I'm going to talk about which teams we could see Patrick Kane play for. Now, as you guys don't know, he was my favorite, and he was my favorite hockey player growing up. I love watching Patrick Kane. I love copying his moves. So every move that he'll make in the game, I'll try and do the same thing when I'm playing hockey or just to practice on. So he was just a great player to watch. He's done a lot with the Chicago Blackhawks, which is one of the reasons why I am a fan of the Blackhawks because of him. 16 seasons in the NHL, the majority of them being with the Chicago Blackhawks before he was traded to the Rangers in the halfway of the 2022-2023 NHL season. Career-wise, he has 1,237 points played. 1,237 points in 1,180 games played. So 451 goals, 786 assists for 1,237 points. Three-time Stanley Cup champion with the Blackhawks. So 2010, 2013, 2015, all with the Blackhawks. You guys know this. He was the 2013 Conn Smythe Trophy winner. So MVP that in that year when the Blackhawks beat the Bruins to win the Stanley Cup. So like I said, done a lot with the Chicago Blackhawks before going over to the New York Rangers, which, speaking of which, we're going to get into some teams that we could see Patrick Kane play for. Unfortunately, he's not going to go back to the Chicago Blackhawks to play with Connor Bedard and the rest of them because obviously they're rebuilding. So, one of the teams that I think we could see him playing for if he decides to return, we could see him playing for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, some of you guys might think I'm crazy, but really I'm not, because this might be true. We could see Patrick Kane in a Leafs uniform, and this is one of the teams that I would love to see him play for. I mean, Austin Matthews, I think he said his favorite player growing up was Patrick Kane, and he is a number 1 overall pick, and so is John Tavares. So it could be the 3 number 1 overall picks in their respective drafts playing playing on the same team. So Patrick Kane, number 1 overall pick from the Chicago Blackhawks in 2007. John Tavares, number 1 overall pick from the New York Islanders in 2009, if I'm not mistaken. And Austin Matthews, number 1 overall pick of the Toronto Maple Leafs in 2016. So it could be great to see. Plus, he's going to be playing with William Nylander, Mitch Marner. So imagine that team with Patrick Kane. That'll be a stacked Maple Leafs team. You guys know what I mean. So I would love to see that happen. Believe it or not, I would love to see that happen. Kaner coming to Toronto to play with the Maple Leafs. Another team that I would love to see Patrick Kane play for, Detroit Red Wings. Now, I know the Blackhawks have a little bit of a rivalry with the Red Wings, but not as big as a rivalry. I don't think it's not as big as a rivalry with as we are with the St. Louis Blues. It could have been big back then. Back then, it probably was a big rivalry between the Blackhawks and Red Wings, but I don't think as of right now, I don't think it's not that big of a rivalry. But anyway, I would love to see Patrick Kane play for the Detroit Red Wings. I would love to see him play for the Detroit Red Wings, and the reason being is because Alex DeBrincat is on the Detroit Red Wings, and him and Alex DeBrincat played with each other back in Chicago when they were on the Chicago Blackhawks. Him and Alex DeBrincat played with each other, and I would love to see both Kaner and the Cat playing with each other once again, this time on the Detroit Red Wings. And he could be a first-line right winger with him and Dylan Larkin. That could be a first line like this. So Alex DeBrincat, Dylan Larkin, and Patrick Kane all on the same line. How great would that be? And plus, other Detroit Red Wings talented players that you got on there. Lucas Raymond, David Perron, he's a Stanley Cup champion. So you could throw him in the mix. You got Mort Seider on D. So we could see Stevie Y sign Patrick Kane to the Detroit Red Wings. I mean, the guys, we don't know what the Yzer plan is. We don't know what the Yzer plan is, but if Steve Yzerman makes it happen, we could see Patrick Kane in the Detroit Red Wings jersey, which that'll be unreal to see. Up next, we could see Patrick Kane go back to his hometown and play with the Buffalo Sabres. The Sabres are a young team, and they could use a veteran like Patrick Kane to lead them to a Stanley Cup. Now, going into the season, I predicted that Buffalo will end their long year drought into the not making the playoffs and will be a playoff, at least a playoff contender going into the season. But as of right now, I'm like, I don't know if I'm still hopping on the Buffalo wagon, saying that the Sabres will make the playoffs this year. I mean, things change. I mean, it's surprising. I mean, like going into this season, everybody thought the Oilers were going to make the playoffs or at least be a playoff contender. Well, it turns out they suck. And they recently fired their head coach, Jay Woodcroft, and Chris Konbloff, hopefully I'm pronouncing their last name right, is now the new head coach. So things change. I mean, it's surprising. I mean, the Sabres, they're doing sort of okay, but they could do even better the next half of the season. And Patrick Kane could be the guy to do just that with the Sabres. I mean, have that veteran leadership for such a young Sabres team. I would love to see that happen. Up next, we could see Patrick Kane re-sign with the New York Rangers. So, obviously, he did play with the Rangers. Last year, he got traded from the Blackhawks to the Rangers. And we could see Kaner back in the Rangers sweater, playing with Blake Wheeler and another former Blackhawk teammate, Artemi Panarin. So I would love to see that chemistry build up again for this season for Patrick Kane with the New York Rangers. I would love to see that happen. So if that could be possibly one of the teams that we could see Patrick Kane play for if he decides to come back. And last but not least, I did not have this on my list before until I looked it up, but we could see Patrick Kane play for the Florida Panthers. Now, obviously the Panthers, they're still trying to go back to being that playoff team that they were last year when they made the run to the Stanley Cup Final and then coming up short to the Vegas Golden Knights. At the end, they're trying to get back into the playoffs. And Patrick Kane, he's done it all. He's been there. He's a 3-time Stanley Cup champion. He knows what it takes to get to the final. So he could lead the Panthers to, the second straight final if the Panthers make the playoffs this year, which they probably should, because I think everybody had them making the playoffs again going into the season, unless some people overreacted and saying that they weren't going to make the playoffs. But I'm pretty sure the majority of you guys had the Panthers going to the playoffs for this year. But anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this video. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know which teams that you guys want to see Patrick Kane play for. Let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, hit it with a like, hit it with the subscribe button, share this video if you would, and I will see you guys next time.